following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah, go Cowboys! This is Talkin Cowboys. Streaming live from the Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star in Frisco.
First down, handoff, Elliott plowing to the goal line. Buried, sacked by Lawrence. Prescott keeps it, and he bangs it in for the touchdown.
And now your hosts, Isaiah Stanback, Heckma Harrison, Rob Phillips, and Kyle Yeomans.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Welcome into Talkin Cowboys, presented by Tostitos, helping fans get in on the game and our favorite chip and our favorite dip of Talkin Cowboys. Welcome in, everybody, to the virtual SWBC Mortgage Studios from the Star in Frisco. We are glad to be with you here on a Say It With Your Chest Thursday. No shows tomorrow, so we will be saying it with our chest all day today, and we're going to have to do the fan questions, or excuse me, the fan pick'ems a little bit differently today, but we'll figure that out as we go along. As always, back with Isaiah Stanback, Heckma Harrison. No Rob Phillips again this week. We will try and get him back next week. But gentlemen, how are we doing? As another day of virtual, that's okay, but we'll be back together soon. Isaiah, I mean, everything to look forward to for this Cowboys team this week, and hey, you've got a new year you're celebrating as well.
Absolutely, man. I'm feeling good. So y'all looking good. We're coming up on another year with this podcast. I'm happy to be, obviously this is the kind of coming to the end of year two. Hopefully we have a playoff run to go handle this year. So I'm really just looking forward to the future, man. I'm blessed to have this opportunity, and I'm happy to be around y'all as always.
Heckma?
What did you say early? What did you say, Kyle? You said something. You said a lot, man. I was trying to take it out.
Oh, yeah, it was just basically a big intro and then a new year on the way. And it is weird that Isaiah brought it up. I mean, this is the end of the second season with this group of Talkin Cowboys. It feels like yesterday that we were in the studio for the first time together, and then at least virtual studio for the first time as well. But we're almost through our entire second year as a group, and I know you're having some fun.
No, I am. I'm jealous of you right now, man. You're in the studio, and I'm sitting here wishing that I was in the studio. So I think that's why my brain blanked out there for a second. Kyle Yeomans. But yeah, man, this has been outstanding. And loving the season that we're having. I'm with Isaiah on that, man. This is like to finish up the second season of doing this, and the team be on the all-time high that they're on right now. I mean, nothing can be better, man. We want this to go all the way to the Super Bowl, baby. So I'm feeling good, man. I'm feeling good about the way this year's gone, and just feeling good about 2022.
Well, and with that being said, it is a complete turnaround of 2020 to, of course, 21 because of the fact that 6-10 and 11-4, any way you shape it, spin it, whatever, it's way better to deal with on a Cowboys landscape. But Heckma, when you look back at this year, what do you feel like it's going to be remembered for? Because I feel like the Super Bowl may be kind of thrown into that 22 conversation of a year if they were to make it that far. But in terms of 21, what do you feel like is going to be remembered the most?
Man, Dak is back. Dak is back. We remembered how 2020 went, and you were so, I guess, uncertain about how he was going to come back from the ankle, and just the way that he came back at 2020. 2021, I think we all had our reservations about his health, and I think he's checked a lot of those boxes. Also, Dan Quinn is going to be a big part of 2021, and just, man, how could one man make that big of a difference on your squad? And that's just his impact on our 2021 season. So Dak and Dan Quinn are going to be the narratives that I would write for 2021.
The narratives that I'm coming with are cultural change and identity. Those are the things I've been preaching ever since we went on a defensive coordinator hunt this past offseason. As soon as that man Dan Quinn, as you just mentioned, his name popped up, those are the two words I started throwing around. And I'm not sure if you guys truly believe what I was saying, but hey, you guys are seeing it now.
Is it fair to say? Is it fair to say, kind of going back to what Heckma was saying, one man turnaround that it is a one-man turnaround, that Dan Quinn deserves that big of a fraction of the credit? Or is it even just as simple as this is a defense that's finally healthy again with guys like Gallimore and DeMarcus Lawrence, Randy Gregory? I know Micah Parsons thrown into the fold helps that as well. But is it more of a personnel change on the defensive flip, or is it a defensive coordinator thing, Heckma?
I believe wholeheartedly that it's Dan Quinn. Yeah. And I've been just trying to rack my brain on how one man can have the kind of impact that he's had. But culturally, just like Isaiah just mentioned, his cultural impact has been you could see it. It's night and day from where this team was last year. I think this is the first time in a long time that I've watched the Cowboy team from top to bottom that's playing with that reckless abandon, especially our defense, the way that they have been getting after teams. Now, obviously, this thing didn't just change overnight, but gradually these guys have started to trend up. And his impact has been it's been amazing. It's been immediate. And players that like Jerron Kearse, when when Dan went out and got guys like that, you didn't think that, okay, what kind of impact would Jerron Kearse have on the squad? Man, a huge impact on the squad. There were names last year, Robinson at cornerback, and the only reason why I bring him up is because I was watching the tape from last year, him getting burnt down. But just guys that were on our squad that just obviously wouldn't have been able to play in Dan Quinn's system. I love the physicality of this team. I love the way that they play, and I think that's all due to Dan Quinn.
Absolutely. Dan Quinn, I think, is obviously a huge part of it. I'm not going to say it's wholeheartedly him, but he's definitely at least 3/4 of this thing. There's a huge contributions list, obviously, when you start thinking about organizational football team. Starting, obviously Will McClay, Coach McCarthy, all these other guys that play a huge part in making sure that they execute the dream, the thought process and the dreams that Dan Quinn came in with. Obviously they all bought in. And yes, Dan Quinn came in with this new regime, this new mindset, but it takes the remaining, the other pieces on the board to actually buy in and say, okay, cool, this is the direction we're going. They didn't give him any points of resistance. They didn't say, this is how we've always done it. They didn't say, this is the way we feel like it should be done. They said, okay, Dan Quinn, what kind of support do you need? We're here to help you out in that regard. And hey, whatever you need from us, let's make it happen.
Are you typing an essay? Are you typing an article while you're doing the show, Isaiah? What was the clickety-clackety of the keyboard? Was that you?
Was it clickety? My hands are... I don't know my hands.
I heard a clickety-clackety. Heckma, you writing an article over there? I didn't know what was going on. It was funny.
I'm not doing none of that, man. No, hey, I'm not.
Hey, while we're talking about this stuff, I know we don't have Rob P to go over the news and notes today, but I have two things that kind of happened over the last 24 hours that I would like to bring to the table.
Well, let's do it.
One of which will put a lot of people's minds at ease and let you guys know exactly where Dan Quinn is at in terms of his commitment to the Dallas Cowboys. He turned down the ability to go and interview with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Can we maybe just go ahead and give a little golf clap for that? He wanted no parts of that. From what I understand, there's a 2-week window where he can go and interview for other coaches. And he said, "Nah, I'm good, Jacksonville. Y'all can keep that."
Now there is.
I like that. That was great news. That was great news to see that he passed up the Jacksonville interview. But hey, as coaching vacancies, as things come open, I don't think he'll turn down another one. Maybe it was just Jayville being the dumpster fire that it is. He had nah, y'all go ahead and keep that. I don't want that.
Well, there is a report out there that he will actually interview for that job after the season is over. He just didn't want to do it while the season was still happening. Is ultimately what it was, but
damn, dog, let Isaiah have his shine right there.
I'm just saying that is a very important key piece of information.
Hey, but Kyle, it is key. However, Shad Khan, Mr. Khan, and the Jacksonville Jaguars don't have that kind of time to be sitting around and waiting. That's a disadvantage to organizations that need to fulfill a role at the head coaching position, having to wait for some of these really good coaches that are going through the playoffs. If they wait around and try to interview those guys, and those guys decide not to move forward with them, now they're in situations where their hands are tied and they're not even their first, second, or third choices. So even though that might be the word out there, I don't think that Jacksonville's in a position to sit around and wait that long.
It also might help out the fact that Dan Quinn can sit and wait for the right opportunity. He doesn't have to necessarily jump at a job for a head coaching position in the NFL because he knows that if he can continue doing what he's doing in Dallas, if he can continue being a fantastic coordinator like he had both with Seattle and now, of course, here, he's going to get those opportunities, and they're going to be better opportunities other than Jacksonville moving forward. If you're Kellen Moore, do you have the opportunity to pass up on head coaching jobs right now? And the second part of that question, and I'll direct this to Heckma first, but do you feel like Kellen Moore is ready for a head coaching job should one of those open up for him?
You know, the funny thing is that I guess I'm one of a few people that feel like Kellen Moore is. If you have guys like Cliff Kingsbury, the younger coaches that are coming into the league, that was the one thing that people questioned about them, their ability to lead a locker room full of grown millionaires. You know, I believe that Kellen Moore, although we don't know much about his personality, I just feel as though it would be hard pressed for him not to be actively pursuing one of these great 32 jobs that are out there. And I think he's ready, man. I think he has the offense as well that would compete in the NFL. So that we're seeing right now. And there are some quarterbacks, and I just look at the Jacksonville opportunity when you have a young quarterback like they have and a young team, you know, that may be ideal for him. I don't want to lose Kellen. To be honest, I don't like this. Gives me the heebie-jeebies just talking about him leaving. But at the same time, you know, that's a good problem to have. That just speaks to the talent that we have on this coaching staff.
Yeah. Yeah, and I agree. I don't honestly believe that either one of those are coordinators, the Dallas Cowboys coordinators, want to leave. I truly don't. I don't think that either one of them want a head coaching position. I don't get the vibe that Kellen Moore is so just like genuine to go ahead and just take on the leadership role of an entire NFL team. Don't see that. I also don't believe that Dan Quinn wants to rush back to the pressures of being the head coach as well when he's doing so well here as a defensive coordinator. So I don't get the sense that either one of those guys are going to leave, regardless of the attention that they might receive. But I do have one thing that I am kind of sad about, fellas. The AFC beat us again. The AFC beat us again, and they took one of Dallas Cowboys players yesterday, from my understanding.
What do you mean?
The Denver Broncos stole Justin Hamilton off the practice squad, and I'm not happy about that. Not happy about that at all.
Why are you not happy about that? He's been cut and brought back and waived and then come back, and he's kind of gone back and forth, and then finally somebody picked him up off of waivers. He wasn't going to play if these guys stay healthy at the D tackle spot. Why are you upset about it?
Because he's a good player. He's a good, hungry player. He plays hard. He's effective. He makes plays, and he had a big impact in that game against Denver when he was called to duty. So, you know, not only did Denver already beat us, right, and they feel good about that because they put out the script on how to beat the Dallas Cowboys.
Sure.
But now they're coming back and stealing players that we might need to rely on next year because, hey, let's face it, we're not retaining everybody next year. We can worry about that in the offseason. But the reality is we're not getting everybody back next year. So we're going to need some replacement guys.
There's nobody leaving at D tackle. I mean, all those other guys are young. Gallimore, Hill, Osa Odighizuwa. Now you're throwing DeMarcus Lawrence on the interior. I mean, all these guys are young pieces. I feel like if there's a position to not be upset about losing a guy at, it would probably be D tackle.
But I absolutely feel you, man. Hamilton was a guy that was coming in spot duty when guys were going down, and he was playing his butt off. And so, you know, not only did the Broncos come and beat us, like you said, they left with one of ours. You know, they scouted him out at the same time. So he did too damn good of a job versus them.
Exactly
but I'm with you. You know, we got players like that, and maybe, you know, I've heard that the whispers of maybe through the salary cap or whatever happens that this team is going to not look the same next year. But, man, I want to live in the now. I'm sorry. I live in the now of where we are. But also, Kyle, I just want to say this. As we're giving these coaches their flowers, Joe Philbin, I want to give Coach Joe Philbin his flowers right now, because when you go back and you watch the tape from when we were going through the lull in the running game and some of the things that was happening with our offensive line, man, he had the ability to rectify some of the shortcomings of our offensive line. And that's just Man, offensive line coaches don't come a dime a dozen, and I've always believed that the fourth highest paid coach on your team should be your offensive line coach. You look around the league, man, and you see the impact that offensive line coaches make, and he has had a tremendous impact on this team as well.
And I think his name should be on that award. He should have his name played on there for 2 years consecutive. You know, it should be 2021 and 21-22 because last year he had his hands all completely full, obviously trying to figure that thing out with the wounded offensive line that we had. And now he piggybacked that with a healthy team for the most part, and he's still finding ways to address issues on the offensive front and still trying to find ways to be successful.
Yeah, and he's going to get those guys to peak at the right time. I feel like that's what his whole goal, his whole mindset is, despite, like Heckma said, what he called the lull, that middle of the season where there was a lot of revolving door and it wasn't working out necessarily. He wants those guys to be ready when it matters most. And speaking of that, Tyron Smith limited in practice yesterday, so he has really the green light to get going again this week. And Stephen Jones talked about it. Jerry did as well. They hope that Tyron Smith, or they are very hopeful that Tyron Smith will be back this week. All right, when we come back, let's talk about the offense again. This offense versus the Arizona defense. Arizona forcing 2.5 turnovers per game on the defensive side of the football. How do the Cowboys avoid giving into that and have some success against that Cardinals defense? When we return here on Talkin Cowboys.
There's nothing as unique as our eyes, which is why Essilor pioneers ways to make lenses as unique as you. Verilux for super sharp vision, Essential Blue for protection, and Crizal for freedom from glare. 3 cutting-edge solutions in a single unique lens. So whatever your needs, insist on Essilor. Visit your local Essilor experts and find the perfect lens for you. See more, do more, Essilor.
New Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar. You deserve it.
I do deserve that.
You deserve decadent flavor without sugar. And a day at the beach without sand getting everywhere. And a relaxing bath that your children don't interrupt.
I deserve all that?
It's really just a visual metaphor for Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar. Everything you want, nothing you don't.
A visual metaphor on the radio. I do deserve that.
Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar. The zero you deserve is finally here.
At AT&T, everyone, new and existing customers, get our best deals on every smartphone. Why? Because you deserve it. For turning your living room into your office and your gym. For teaching Grandma how to video call. And teaching her again.
It's the button on your left, Nana. Okay, your other left.
It's not complicated. Everyone deserves something new. So AT&T is giving everyone, new and existing customers, our best deals with every unlimited plan on every smartphone, even the latest ones.
AT&T may temporarily slow data speeds if the network is busy. Restrictions and exceptions may apply.
Hi, I'm Clint Tillison with...
And I'm Jay Novacek. And we're both with...
United Ag and Turf, the official tractor provider of the Dallas Cowboys.
So, if you need a tractor to bale some hay, a mower to cut some grass, or a gator to get some chores done...
Get a John Deere at United Ag and Turf.
And then, let's get to work.
Hey, Jay, that's my line.
Well, not today.
Get to work with a John Deere tractor package that's just right for you and your budget. Visit UnitedAgAndTurf.com.
Back to Talkin Cowboys.
It's a great great pay replay here on Talkin Cowboys. You've heard it already that Jason Witten has joined the Caliber Collision team. You can join him to do great work with great people for great pay and apply right now at jobs@caliber.com. That's jobs@caliber.com. You didn't pull your Bible out today, Heckma?
It's still across the room, Kyle. I'm sorry, I didn't.
It's okay. I'm just waiting for it to show up and to have it as Rob Phillips' wallet. That's okay.
Missing P, missing Rob P. Island,
Rob P. Island, man.
I know it's not the same without him, and hopefully he's back next week, and we'll have him back for the entirety of the week. And also, hopefully, we'll be back in studio as soon as next week as well. But second segment here of Talkin Cowboys, presented by Tostitos, helping fans get in on the game. And let's talk about this Cowboys offense versus the Cardinals defense. And we mentioned it yesterday. The Cowboys offense is putting up historically good numbers at home this season. They are the top offense in the league whenever they play at home, over 34 points per game, over 400 yards per game. And they continued that last week, of course, against the Washington football team. And David Hellman actually wrote a really good article on DallasCowboys.com. I encourage you to check it out. It's talking about how this week presents an opportunity to make a statement. A lot of the pushback after the 56-14 win over Washington was the fact that you haven't done it against a quote-unquote good team. And this is a good team. Even though they're a bit banged up and they don't have DeAndre Hopkins, this is a good team in the Arizona Cardinals. So is this the best opportunity to make a statement, maybe since the Kansas City Chiefs game, Isaiah, because it really hasn't been that way just because of what schedule's been handed to you the last couple of weeks?
Yes. And I agree on both sides of the party. So I agree with the crowd that says Dallas Cowboys haven't beaten and destroyed anybody like that of great value. Mm-hmm. Totally get it. But I also understand it from the Dallas Cowboys perspective. It's like, hey, we can only play who shows up on our schedule. Mm-hmm. So don't shoot the messenger. We just take care. We just knock down the pins that show up. So I understand it from both sides of things. And to answer your question, Kyle, yes, this will be the next greatest opportunity, even for the next two games. This is the greatest opportunity we have in the remainder of the season to prove that what you're doing is real, that what you have is real, that it's not a fluke, that you're not just a big bully of the NFC West that's running around, NFC East, running around beating people up. This is your opportunity to show that, hey, we shut down Kyler Murray, one of the most respected quarterbacks in the league. We can shut down Zach Ertz. We can shut down these guys offensively, and then defensively, some of the guys that we're going to face. Tyron Smith, please come back this week because we need you against Chandler Jones. we need our blocking against Chandler Jones because he will wreck the game if we don't step up here and take care of him. Buda Baker, one of the league's respected safeties, coming up in the game. Guys, Murphy and guys like that. So there's guys that can present some issues on this team, and they are a well-respected organization, not even just team, a well-respected organization in this league of 2021.
Yeah, for me, guys, it's hard to digest that argument about, saying basically the Cowboys aren't playing anybody. I've watched enough football over the years to remember when the Patriots were playing the Miami Dolphins and they didn't have anybody. The Buffalo Bills didn't have anybody, and nobody even questioned their plight in the AFC and how they got to the playoffs. But now with the Cowboys, the goalpost is moving each and every week. We lose to the Denver Broncos, we're horrible. We lose to the Raiders, we're horrible. Oh, but then when we beat New Orleans, that was okay. That was an ugly win. Man, I'm not going with all of that. Like you said, you play who's on your schedule, you beat who's on the field with you. And that's the job, that's the assignment that we have. When we come into this game, if we win 17-16, there's going to be critics that jump out the cake and say, oh, look at that. You only won by 1 point. I don't care, right? I don't care. I want to win. I want to take it just like this all the way through the playoffs. And the thing about it is, you're right. When you talk about the players that they have, but guys, let's just say go back to the Raiders, the Las Vegas game. Ndakwe, Crosby, those guys were formidable. They had sacks. They had that defense was something. Look, you have to give them their respect. This is a copycat league. I expect for the Arizona Cardinals to come in here and play us exactly like other teams have played us. Now they're a single high safety team, but they would. I mean, look, they're gonna try and do some two safety looks, right? As you were stating, Isaiah, Buda Baker is the key. He is the straw that stirs the drink for that defense. He plays down in the box. He does so many special things. I'm not trying to negate the fact that they have some really special players over there, but I feel as though with the way that this offense is playing, and especially the way that the defense is playing, man, this may be roadkill. They may be roadkill, and I'm talking about the Cardinals coming up against the Cowboys that are hot right now.
No, bird season, huh?
Yeah. It is. I agree with you, Heckma, more so than I would even say with Isaiah, because I understand you want to see it against good teams, and this is your opportunity to do it. But you have a direct benchmark on how your team is improving from week 14 to week 16. You played the same team twice in a row. Pretty much. I mean, you had the 2 out of 3 games with the same team opposite of you. One of them, you dominated through the first quarter, couldn't finish. The second of them, you kept your foot on the gas all the way through, and you stomped them in the Washington football team this past week. So I want to see it against a good team, but just because you're winning games and these 4 straight wins haven't come against the quote-unquote best opposition, I still think that's something that you have to take notice of, and I think the NFL is taking notice of it. But also looking at the defense, like Heckman was just saying with this Arizona team, Budda Baker, Byron Murphy Jr. is having a pretty good season. Hicks in the middle. How about Isaiah Simmons, the top 10 pick out of Clemson a couple years ago? Yeah. Chandler Jones. I mean, there are so many different pieces where this defense could hurt you. Isaiah, if you had to look at one of the 3 levels and say whichever one scares you the most or at least worries you the most to try and slow down this Cowboys offense, which one would it be?
It's tough. I feel like they have a guy at every level. This reminds me more of a San Diego, Los Angeles Chargers, Chargers type defense. I did save it. I reeled it back in. It reminds me of that defense because they have all pro at every level. Yeah. They have a guy at every single level that can hurt you, but they don't have a complete unit that you're worried about. So in that sense, it gives me a sense of confidence going against these guys. I will feel a lot more confident if Tyron Smith is there. That's no disrespect to Nseki. That's no disrespect to Terrence Steele. Chandler Jones is a game writer, and he loves to run games. There's defensive ends in this game that can make plays, and then there's defensive ends in this game that get a high off of just making your life miserable. And he's one of those guys. He's one of those type of competitors. So he presents a problem. You start talking about Isaiah Simmons at the next level. That dude is an athlete, 6'4", 240 some odd pounds. That boy runs around. He goes sideline to sideline. He'll come downhill, bust you in your face mask. That's a problem. Then you go to the third level, and you got Budda Baker. See my UW family, and he is a complete dog. He's not a big presence. He's not a big guy, but he has a huge presence, and he will find himself in the back half of the field. He'll find himself in the line of scrimmage. He'll time that thing up and jump over the doggone line of scrimmage like old school Roy Williams on you in a heartbeat. If you give him the ability to, so you have to change up the timing of your snap count. And then you already mentioned you go to the outside. You got Byron Murphy, another UW guy. UW is in the building. Goodness gracious. I hope they this week. But he's also doing a good job. He's not a shutdown corner, but him and Budda Baker physical. They present that presence at the line of scrimmage that in the secondary will actually give them an opportunity to stop the game from the secondary level, which obviously is always a huge contribution whenever you can get that defensively.
Oh, good old Isaiah, boy. He don't leave no meat on the bone.
No, he doesn't.
You see the helmet?
Nope. You see the helmet? The UW nation.
He gonna eat. So, like, I agreeing with what you just said, but I have to take it a step further. Budda Baker, his IQ, the way that he plays, for a guy that's as undersized as he is, I mean, he's just special. And he's one of those guys that we have to watch for. And he's changed his number to 3. So you may not recognize him, but he's still doing what he does. Look, these guys play a 3-4 base defense, but they always play with, 5-6 guys at the line of scrimmage. For the Cowboys, I think the running game is going to be imperative. And you say, well, they got a 5-6 man box. I still think that we have to try over these next couple of weeks to reestablish our running game. I know we've seen some success. We have some things that, hey, all right, those are some more things for us to build on. But a team like Arizona, you have to bust them in the mouth. You have to meet their physicality. So the line of scrimmage is going to be very important. When you talk about guys like Isaiah Simmons, I think he's I think he's a sideline guy, but what I also see from Simmons is a finesse guy. I don't think he wants the pressure that I think of Zach Martin or anybody. Nobody wants the pressure that Zach Martin will put on you, but he does a lot of running around blocks. So I think running at him, getting out to the next level, getting to the second level is going to be important for our offensive line. Establishing the line of scrimmage, again, is just going to be imperative. But like you said, it's one of those things. This is one of those matchups where, defensively, they get takeaways. They are very aggressive. And once they smell blood in the water, man, these guys pin their ears back and come after you. And that is something we can't afford as an offense.
Yeah, both of these teams in the top 10, or actually even the top 5 in terms of turnover differential. And then you also look at top 5 in scoring defense, top 8 in total defense allowed. I mean, this is a really, really good and very talented defensive unit. They are right there with the Cowboys in terms of the way that they've played, even despite a couple injuries on that back end. But it kind of reminds me of the conversation that we had when, of course, facing the Chargers that Isaiah was talking about, when also going up against the Patriots, the Panthers early in the year, when you thought the Panthers were going to be more than what they were. You have to match the physicality. We've heard that term over and over again. It's almost been like continuity. It's matching physicality. It's that other word, that other buzzword where we need to take a shot every time we hear it. But do you think the Cowboys can match that physicality? You feel like the one game of confidence, Heckma, that they had against the Washington football team is enough to propel them into a game like this against the top 10 defense, a formidable opponent, and to be able to take advantage?
Yeah. I think they've made some tremendous strides, since the loss to the Broncos, where a game that they came out, they just didn't look like they were ready. And you go back to the victories versus the Washington football team. If you go back to last year, that was the one thing that made the difference in the ball game. Not only the talent level drop off at the quarterback position, but just how physical they were. And those are just some of the things that had to change for us in order to take the NFC East. Look, this is, no matter what, the contact level, the physicality is going to change once the playoffs start. And I know Isaiah has anecdotal accounts of how once the playoffs start, the physicality goes up. And this team is going to have to continue to match that physicality. And if you want to be dominant, and especially on our defense, you just see, man, how these guys are coming out and they are just taking teams' soul away. We saw the Washington football team, they didn't want anymore. They basically quit. They wanted that clock to give us a running clock like in high school in the second half. They could have took it. And that's just the thing. Like you say that about what we have at the offensive line position and establishing the line of scrimmage. Tony Pollard and Ezekiel Elliott are going to have to be running downhill this entire game. The physicality is going to have to be there.
It's got to be there, and the Cowboys are going to have to try and take advantage of it. We're going to take a break to try and get Isaiah's Wi-Fi back and up to speed like Budda Baker and that entire secondary. We got to get those UW guys up to speed whenever we get a chance to. So let's try and do that, and then we'll also have our pick'ems after we keep this conversation going when we come back here on Talkin Cowboys.
Want to use what the pros use? How about the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black? Right now, you can get the Jack Black Starter, a curated collection of Cowboys locker room favorites for just $10 with free shipping. The starter includes 4 Jack Black skincare favorites, plus a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Go to getjackblack.com/Cowboys and use the code word TEAMJB. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys. The Jack Black Starter, $10, free shipping.
At AT&T, everyone, new and existing customers, get our best deals on every smartphone. Why? Because you deserve it. For turning your living room into your office and your gym. For teaching Grandma how to video call. And teaching her again.
It's the button on your left, Nana. Okay, your other left.
It's not complicated. Everyone deserves something new. So AT&T is giving everyone, new and existing customers, our best deals with every unlimited plan on every smartphone, even the latest ones.
AT&T may temporarily slow data speeds if the network is busy. Restrictions and exceptions may apply.
The Cowboys way, where 16 Hall of Famers and 5 championships shows us what success looks like. Where turkey is always the second best part of Thanksgiving Day. Where we are all defined by one single thing, the star. Where we as fans know it's our job to keep the tradition going. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank of the Dallas Cowboys and to support the quest of living life the Cowboys way. Copyright 2020, Bank of America Corporation.
Before there was a draft, you could size up a cowboy by 3 simple factors: the crease in his hat, the bend of his brim, and his unbending attitude. A man's Stetson didn't just protect him from what life threw at him, it projected a rugged, unstoppable spirit. Stetson hats are still American-made with pride right here in Texas. They're still the unofficial crown of all self-respecting cowboys, and Stetson is proud to be on the field with America's team. Find a retailer nearest you at stetson.com/cowboys.
Back to Talkin Cowboys.
Whether you're watching from home or you're cheering in the stands with Essilor lenses, you can see every exciting play. Book an appointment at your local Essilor experts and see what Essilor can do for you. See more, do more, Essilor here on Talkin Cowboys. We don't have any... Heckman got the mic toss at the end there. I saw that.
I can't do it like P, man.
I know. We don't have Rob Phillips on our Say It With Your Chest day to do the Essilor read. All right, Isaiah, before we get into pick'ems, I wanted to hear your response to what Heckman was talking about in terms of the physicality, matching that, and how it could propel you into the playoffs.
Yeah, the physicality in the NFL when the playoffs arrive are absolutely insane. But, this game is actually perfect for what Dallas needs to prepare for because of their ability. For Arizona, they play very, very fast. That's what this team is made off of. Their momentum-based defense. They want to run around and hit. They want to cause issues. They'll blitz from deep in the secondary to cause issues for you, and you're going to have to make quick decisions. And that is exactly how playoff football rolls. It doesn't matter if it's happening at the line of scrimmage. It doesn't matter if it's happening at the secondary. Also, this is a great challenge for the Dallas Cowboys because their necessity to focus on their run game right now. Arizona does a great job of stopping the run game of opposers with their secondary players. Their cornerbacks play physical and downhill. They're going to be cornerback blitzing. You don't see that too often in the league anymore, but they do it. They'll shoot their cornerback inside the receiver. So the receivers, there's going to have to be the biggest challenge for them in terms of blocking and getting their man. Because if receivers on your team don't block well, your running game won't get going against these guys. So in all different facets, in terms of intensity, in terms of speed, in terms of where your eyes need to be assignment-wise, in terms of the assignments of the receivers, this is going to be a huge challenge for these guys, and everybody, they're going to have to check every single box. Otherwise, this is one of those teams that can really wreck things for you.
Heckma?
No, he said that. Yeah, that's a hot take. I mean, that's absolutely correct. And my only thing about this game in particular is the Cowboys have to string along long, methodical drives. And the best offense sometimes is the best defense. Best defense is a good offense. Excuse me, is what I'm trying to say. And if our offense is having those long drives, what it's doing is it's keeping Kyler Murray over there sipping Gatorade, and that's what we want to do. But also finish drives with touchdowns and not field goals. It's going to be imperative that we do that, and that's why I look at for like a mismatch of sorts. I think that Schultz could definitely feast on this defense because of the way that, just what Isaiah said, they will blitz from a lot of different angles, and you're right, they will bring cornerback pressure off the edge. But where has Dak been most successful? He is the highest rated quarterback when facing a blitz. That means his ability to adapt and process on the fly is high, and I think his safety blanket has been Schultz for a lot of these games. And so I think if there's a one-on-one matchup versus Schultz, he has to win it.
Is that one of the X Factor matchups for you as well, Isaiah, or is there anybody else that sticks out?
I'm looking at these receivers. I think, obviously, with Dak trying to get back on track last week, obviously he took a big leap forward in that regard. These receivers have a lot of pressure on them, and they can't just go into this game focused on trying to get off the line of scrimmage, run a good route, catch the ball. That's not just your assignment this week. And again, I reiterate it, their ability to block these corners and block these safeties are going to be a direct, will have a direct effect over Dallas's ability to be able to run the ball. And if they do a poor job of that, it's going to be a long day. It's going to be a really long day. So I'm putting a lot of pressure on these receivers.
I got a question, Kyle, for Isaiah. Isaiah, when it comes down to like a two safety high cover two versus the single high safety zone, those throws that we had talked about earlier in the week that Dak has started to make, and we've seen a few dimes that he's been throwing. Talk about the difference for our receivers being, if they do go with that single high safety look, how is it going to be the contrast between what they've seen over the last 5-6 weeks?
Yeah, the holes are different, and obviously it's all dependent on the type of route concept that you have, the route tree that you're running. But, typically when you have those two high safeties, there's a lot more there's a lot more room underneath when you start talking about, underneath coverage. You're expecting, 2 high safety. You got 2 cornerbacks, 2 safeties deep. There's 3 linebackers typically in the middle. Well, those 3 linebackers are covering all 53.5 yards. And that's a lot to ask those guys to cover, except for unless those cover 2 corners really sit. So the middle of the field is really only being covered by 3 guys. Now all of a sudden you drop down to a single high safety. They're really taking away that underneath and saying, we're not giving you these 5-yard routes. We're not giving you these 8-yard routes. Everything that you're going to have to do is going to have to be behind our second level defenders. So you're going to have to run your routes at least 12 yards deep. And guess what? It gives Dallas now the opportunity to win on the outside. So that's kind of the dare that Arizona is going to try to present to Dallas and say, we don't think that you guys could beat us on the outside man to man. We're going to step up in your face. We're going to put hands on you, like an old Nashawn Wright, going to put the Hondas on you at the line of scrimmage and dare you to throw the ball outside. And we're going to try to make sure that we sit on your inside shade and force all your routes to the sideline. We're going to try to negate your ability to run anything interior wise. And if you do want to run it on the inside, because we're running single high safety, it's going to have to be 10, 12 yards down the field, which gives who? Chandler Jones, Isaiah Simmons, those guys the time they need to try to get in the backfield.
I absolutely love it, and I love the insight about what this could look like, because normally when we talk about that kind of X's and O's stuff, we then turn around on Sunday and we see it happening almost instantly. So let's see if you can predict as well on the field as you are in the results of these games, Isaiah, because I don't have the standings updates, but I do know that you are currently bringing up the rear still. So we'll let you go first on this one.
I'm a type of individual that likes to have each other's back. I want to make sure I secure things and make sure that my guys are good. I like to see, just like when I'm eating with my family, I like to have I don't like to have my back turned to the door. It's the same way. I like to make sure that y'all are good.
He loves being the caboose.
Yeah, that's what it is. That's what I just heard, Heckma. That's exactly what I just heard. All right, I've got 6 games here. I'm going to put the fans' vote on Twitter. So follow me at Kyle_Yeomans. I'm going to tweet out polls, and whatever the percentage poll gets, it's going to be a true fan-represented week here on Talkin Cowboys, and that will be the official pick of the fans. All right, let's start with the Rams at the Ravens. Rob Phillips has already sent me all of his picks, so I'll just throw his out there first whenever we come around. But the Ravens is who he picked in that one, and we'll go with Heckma first.
Rams at Ravens?
Yes, sir.
Both teams need that. I'm going to go with the Los Angeles Rams.
I'm going to go with the Rams as well. Isaiah?
Going with Sheep.
The Sheep. All right, Chiefs at the Bengals. Rob picked the Chiefs. Who do you guys have? We'll start with Isaiah.
I'm going with KC.
Oh, man.
Bengals playing well.
That's Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is hot right now, boy. But now I'm going with the Chiefs. I ain't crazy.
I'm crazy. I'm going to go with the Bengals at home. I think they get a big win, and Kansas City's win streak comes to a close. So I'm taking Cincinnati. All right, NFC East battle. The Philadelphia Eagles on the road against the struggling Washington football team. I'm going to take the Eagles on the road as they continue to push toward the playoffs, and it'll be another tough matchup again in Week 18 for the Cowboys. Isaiah, who you got?
Cheesesteak.
Man, oh God. Can I just take a mulligan on?
Got to pick one of the two.
You have to. You go ahead. I know you don't want to say the word, but you got to just say something else like I did.
All right, I'll go with the green team.
The green team. Okay, so not the Washington football team. It's the Philadelphia green team. Rob also picked the Eagles as well. Let's go with the Bears at home against the Giants. In this could be a low-scoring game. New York and Chicago rank bottom 5 in points per game this season. Heckman, we'll start with you.
All right, you said it was you broke up. You said Bears at Giants?
Bears hosting the Giants, so Giants at Bears.
Bears, okay. And, oh, God, I think that's a horrible game to call. I'm going to go with Bears.
Isaiah?
1985.
The Bears. Okay, I'm going to go with the Bears, too. It's a Bears across the board because that's who Rob Phillips picked as well. And then our final non-Cowboys game, The Browns on the road against the Steelers. Pittsburgh has won 3 of their last 4 against the Browns as they continue to struggle as well. Rob picked the Steelers. I'm going to pick the Browns. Heckma, who you got?
That's going to be a tough divisional matchup, but I'm going to go with the Brownies. They got to get a rebound.
Nick Chubbs.
You just don't like saying team names, do you, Isaiah? That's all it is. You just don't want to say the actual team name. Okay, here we go. Final game. Final game we're picking this week, and it's the one everybody wants to hear about. It's the Cardinals at the Cowboys. Arizona's won 5 of their last 6 against Dallas, but they've lost 3 straight coming into this one. The Cowboys have won 4 straight and are firing on all cylinders. Each team already locked into the playoffs. We'll start with Rob Phillips. He goes 34-28. Cowboys get the dub at home at AT&T Stadium, a one-possession football game. Isaiah, who you got?
Let's go 37-34 Cowboys.
Ooh, I thought you were going to say Cardinals right there. I thought that was going to be a delayed Christmas tree game.
What? What's going on? I mean, you got all your UW guys over there. You mean to tell me you're going to go with that's shocking. That's shocking.
That shows the confidence level that Isaiah has in this ball club.
Yeah.
All right. What about yourself, Kyle? What you got?
I'll go Cowboys 31-21 is my score. I think the defense plays exceptionally well. I think it's actually like 31-14 until late, and then the Cardinals get a late touchdown, and then that's about it. But I think 31-21 is the final score when all things are done at AT&T Stadium. Heckma.
No, I'm feeling good about this matchup. I think everybody in Cowboy Nation should be feeling good about this matchup as well. I'm feeling like the Cowboys will win this game. It'll be close, but 24-13. 24-13 is my final score.
Ooh, a little low-scoring matchup. I like it. A little different from Heckma Harrison. But that's going to do it here for us here on Talking Cowboys this week. Hope you had some fun. We'll be back on Monday to break it all down. Everybody have a very safe and happy New Year's. Let's bring in 2022 the right way. And, of course, hopefully the Cowboys get the win on Sunday as well. For Chris Beam, for Rob Phillips, for Isaiah Stanback, Heckma Harrison, I'm Kyle Yeoman saying so long. Heckma, what do we say on Say It With Your Chest Thursday?
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!